Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Monday Memo. Now, for the last few years, at the start of a new year, I've been giving my recommendations as to perhaps some resources, books in particular, that our audience can go and follow up with to enhance their finance or value creating assets in the year ahead. And there are, I suppose, historically very few around business partnering as a topic per se or financial mentoring. However, on the other hand, there's a lot of other specialist books that, if you combine them into like a reading list, they can be very useful in enhancing your skills and your capabilities and your assets to go and create and capture value for the organizations and the businesses and the people we go serve. So, look, the first of my recommendations is Digital Disruption: Unleashing the Next Wave of Innovation by Jason Quigley. Uh, I read this book quite a while ago, but I still dip into it now and again because as finance professionals, we're not actually immune from being disrupted. And with well known research now from Oxford University and Deloitte suggesting that 54% of finance jobs are at risk of automation, the most of any skilled profession. We've already heard some of our SITN show mentors already suggesting that we need to disrupt or be disrupted. And this book actually helps us assess our readiness to be disruptive and lays out 3 steps that we can follow to become so. The first is actually identifying the right mindset, um, where we invest as cheaply as possible and build on existing platforms and like data sources we already have to find the cheapest path to solve a customer's problem. The second is seeking what's known as the adjacent possible. It's a space that's just next or in around our functions that we can start leveraging new technologies like RPA, data visualization, machine learning to create additional value creation opportunities for the business and ourselves to go service those. And then the third step is actually disrupt our own selves by using these tools to make parts of our areas, our function obsolete before other competitors or departments, internal departments do that. And you already see this by looking at some of the functions that have been heavily automated already, taking away, I suppose, heavy workload, transaction workloads, allowing us to, in effect, in theory, spend more time going out creating and capturing value for our organizations. The second book on my list is Your Brain at Work: Strategies for Overcoming Distraction, Regaining Focus and Working Smarter All Day Long by David Rock. I really love this book because I have a fascination with how the mind works so we can get the most out of ourselves and those around us, helping each other achieve our potential. And if our previous book recommendation was about the world becoming less human, this one is about tapping into our own human traits and our own humanity as finance business partners, because this is what will help us go and add value for those around us. If you think about it, during our work days, there's loads of information floating and being slammed towards us, and sometimes it can actually feel quite overwhelming. And at the end of those days, if we have a quiet moment of reflection, we may end up thinking, oh, why the heck did I say that in that meeting? Or why did I do that? Or, oh, I missed that, and maybe I should do that differently next time. So we're catching ourselves later on in the day. Whereas, we have that benefit of hindsight, but the author of this book actually helps us understand scenarios. At the beginning of each chapter, he actually follows 2 main characters through, and they play out their day without maybe understanding how their mind works or how their brain works. And then what he does, he goes through the theory of how they work, and then at the end of the chapter, he sort of replays the day in terms of in a more mindful or a better appreciation of how our mind works. And the main characters then go on to have more successful interactions, not just for themselves, but also for those around them. And it's a nice way of introducing some sort of heavy neuroscience concepts about how our brains work. And we see the actors in the book develop how they mentally organize, prioritize, remember things, process their jobs, and also their lives outside of their jobs. And another thing I liked about the book was actually comparing the brain, so to speak, as a stage, and bringing the right actors onto the stage, knowing how to direct those actors towards a more successful outcome. So really enjoyed that book. The next one is Flawless Consulting, a guide to getting your expertise used, by Peter Block, a very well-known consultant. And as finance business partners, we're actually often tasked with asking difficult questions, whilst also at the same time trying to establish a constructive and consultative environment, enhancing in effect our chances of capturing and creating value for organizations. However, our training rarely prepares us for those times that are very fast changing, difficult to keep up with. So how can we make sure we're asking the right questions, if not better questions, to deal with the difficulties that presents for our clients, our colleagues, and particularly when it comes to working in a virtual world, how to handle remote meetings, virtual meetings, and all the complexities that can come with actually consulting across borders, given that our profession is a global profession and the people we support and serve are based potentially anywhere in the world. So really enjoyed this book because it's got a number of real life case studies, guidelines on how we implement some of the questions, very good examples and exercises to help us cement some of the learning from the book. Another one that's a bit of an easier read is actually To Sell is Human, The Surprising Truth About Persuading, Convincing and Influencing Others by Dan Pink. I've read a number of Dan Pink's book. I really like it. In fact, I like the way he reframes this challenge for us, because as finance people we get this, is that sales is often a dirty word for us. However, he does make the point that we're all in sales right now, whether we're pitching our ideas to colleagues, asking for pay rises, getting our kids out of bed, like I just had to do this morning. In this book, Dan Pink analyzes various scientific research and blends it around stories to show that sales isn't what it used to be. And then he provides sets of practical tools, tips, exercises, so that we can then succeed with such salesy types of skills that we could even usefully apply as finance business partners, as financial mentors, as professionals. And some of those actually that spring to mind are 6 new ways to pitch an idea we might have, 3 ways we could use to understand another person's perspectives, and 5 frames of reference that we can use to make our messages more clear. And if you think about that, if we were able to do that this year, we would be enhancing our skills and actually probably making more of an impact and being more influential in the year ahead. And finally, I'm a little biased on the last book, but I did have the pleasure of editing it. It's called Create Value as a Finance Business Partner, Transforming the Finance Function into a Profit Center, by Bo Foged, Anders Leo Lindberg, and Henrietta Finsk. Now, this isn't your traditional book. I'd say it's more of an investment than a book, because it gives the reader a complete guide, including tools and real practical examples on how to become an invaluable partner for the business. It all starts with understanding the finance business partner mindset. And once the book introduces that, on how we should be viewing our colleagues and managers throughout the company and the customers who have to be serviced, the book then goes on to show us how to collect, connect, convey value-added advice to support better decision making, so that we as finance professionals are no longer seen as an expense or an overhead, but rather as value creators who share in the impacts, or the positive impacts, of the decisions that we support. So look, hope you enjoyed that selection of books. That's what I've enjoyed reading, and would encourage you to check those out. And if you can relate to some of the books or some of the ideas we just expressed, please share it with your colleagues and your friends who might actually be able to benefit and have a more successful year ahead as a finance professional. So look, thanks for investing your time with us today. Really appreciate it. I want to wish you all the best for the year ahead, and let's keep on building our strength in the numbers.